right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's warm up our voices a little tiny bit. So, on solfege, you don't have to sign. We'll do majors first, and then we'll do minors, okay? Da, 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 dee, da, da, da. 1, 2, ready, and... Oh my gosh. Again. On solfege, guys. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Keep going. Nice. Don't drag. Sure. Nice. Breathe. Breathe. And. And. One more. Back down. Support. And here's a surprise. Mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And what about this? Good. But good. Good. Very, very good. Compound intervals. All right. Clay, starting with you. Please. Very good. Major 7th is correct. Lily. No, but close. Sure. Perfect fit. Very good. Gabriel, for you. Say what? That's another perfect fit. Sure is. I tried to trick you and it didn't work. Zach, for you. Inverted. Right, what kind of third? Minor. Very good, minor third. Noah, for you. How about this?
Minor 2nd, 7.
Good, minor 7. Excellent. Bridget. Sorry? It is not. Here's a 4th. Greater than or less than? Right. Think your scales? Da, 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 da. 5 or 6? 6. Good. Major or minor? Sure. Good. Very good. And other Noah, for you. Sorry? 7 is what you said? Yeah. Inverted. Say second. Major second. Okay, good. All right. Here is your tonal center. What's the harmony here?
Flat major 6.
Excellent. 1 to flat 6. First chord. What is the harmony here?
Flat major 7.
Negative. The bass note was flat 7 though, Clay.
It was minor 5.
No, sir. Did it sound minor to you? Listen carefully. The order that we listen to for triadic hearing. Stability, right, and quality. Quality first, then stability. Major, minor, diminished. It's major. Stable or unstable? Unstable. Sing the root of the chord. Right. So what is it from here? Flat major 3, 6, 4. Excellent, Zach. Flat 3, 6, 4. Precisely. How about this? New tonal center. Minor 5, 6. Very good. 5 in person version. It was minor, it was unstable, and yeah, tell by your roots. Okay. What about this? Same tonic. Yeah. And what's that? That second chord.
Is that a flat major 3, 7?
It is not.
Okay, cool.
I like that you're going for it though, Noah. So again, original tonic, obviously major, and then what's the quality of this chord? Dominant 7th, right? Sure, but then it would be resolving there, but this is our original tonic, so listen carefully. That's a half step away from, so could this be a secondary dominant? Or could it be? Well, what is it?
No, I don't know.
The bass note is flat 6. And what chord that we just learned about has a bass note of flat 6 but sounds like a secondary dominant?
No. It's 5 flat 2. No, it's a...
I swear by the fiery goddesses.
A German 6.
Yes! It is a German augmented 6. Bam! Got you all. So, get major tonic, listen carefully. Flat 6, augmented 6 above that, which is going to go like this. But then the German 6 has the major triad above flat 6 and resolves to a 1, 6, 4. To all Just kidding. That's a tough one.
We're not expecting it.
Well, of course! You should be expecting it. We started on minute 6 chords. Another sheet for Clay. All right, great. We'll keep the same key, but now you know that it's all fair game. You guys are so fun. Was ist dies? Yeah, what's this? One, two. Is this built on scale degree 2? It's a good guess. Yes, you're singing the right bass notes, the right root notes. So if you go, what's that second chord based on its quality?
It's 7 diminished 2.
Tonic triad. Raise the 1 a half step, then it becomes, and add the mind the diminished 7th, 7, 7 of 2. Remember, harmony is still a thing. All the chords of the past that we've covered haven't gone away. Here's your original tonic. So what if I do this? What's that middle chord? The 1 chord becomes, and this is not a 1-7, it is a 5-7 of 4. When the tonic triad becomes a dominant 7th, it implies secondary function of the subdominant chord. Okay, don't forget that. I'm going to ask you this stuff. And what about this? Let's see. Yeah, fine. Yes, it's a French 6. So here's our tonic again so you guys can hear it. Now listen carefully. I'm totally not going to resolve it. I'm just kidding. So again, here's your tonic. Flat 6. You have minute 6 above it. Tritone 1. Tritone 2. Put it all together. And then it resolves as such. It's supposed to go to 5. And then this resolves to. I'm thinking about tritone so much. So 1. French 6. 5. Great chord, very dissonant. Up an octave, I'm going to be a little bit clearer. Okay, French 6. Let's do the 1-6-4. Yeah, you can do that too, right? And you can even have augmented 6 chords into secondary chords as well, which is crazy. So just keep those in your ear. That's kind of like a basic summary of all the chromatic chords that we basically just talked about this term alone. It's a lot of chords. But wait, there's one more. Don't forget about this bad boy. What is that middle chord or that second chord? That's the Neapolitan, and I'm actually playing it in first inversion, so it would be an N6 or Neapolitan 6 chord. So what is the Roman numeral for Neapolitan 6, or just Neapolitan? Sorry, Gabriel?
Just the letter N?
Give me the more specific number. Flat 2, and make sure flat major 2, 6. Yeah, because otherwise, if you just said, I don't know, I guess flat 2 should sort of imply that, but yeah, say flat major 2, 6. So, in this case, if you go from C major to D flat, okay, and then this would resolve to 5, or to 1-6-4, which is also okay. And again, the reason why we encounter the Neapolitan in first inversion is so we evade the tritone leap from flat 2 to high, which common practice composers wouldn't have done. Although Chopin does do it in a couple of his preludes, and we'll see examples of that. But usually you find it like this, because then you get a nice 4, 5, 2, 1 in the bass. 4, 5, 1, which is something that we know composers like to do a lot. Whether it's 2, 6, 5, 4, 5, and 6, 5, 1. Okay? But you wouldn't go flat 2, 5. Oh, this is icky. Okay, great. So hear that one too. All right. Progression. Staff paper, please. Staff paper, pencil. Good eraser. Okay. Go ahead and set up a grand staff in A minor. And prepare to hear 4 chords, yeah. Grand staff, key of A minor, 4 total chords. Here's the first chord. I'm not going to tell you what the notes are. Here's your bass note. Oh yeah, and here's A minor, so I'm not going to be a total jerk. Here's an A minor triad. Here's your bass note. Who knows where it is?
A2. Oh, yeah.
It is A2, so it's the bottom space. It's A2. Good. The tenor. So Bridget, what's our tenor note? Here's the bass. Tenor.
That's the same note.
No, it's not.
Sort of.
No, it's not. It's not even remotely the same note.
In the chord, that's what it said. No, it's the name. Sorry.
Clay is claiming temporary insanity. What is this interval? Minor third. So it is what note, Gabriel? It's a C what? Octavization. 4. C4. Yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. That's what I want to hear in this class. Can I keep you all? All right. So right. Bass, A2, tenor, C4, or middle C. Okay. Your alto. Zach, what's our alto note? E4, right above the tenor. Excellent. And then logically, right. Lily, was that you singing it? Might have been Bridget, or, oh no, well done, a resident countertenor. I'm one of those two. So then you have the A4 in the soprano. Very, very good. Okay, again, 4 total chords in the example. Gosh, this bass and tenor is quite a space for me. And we'll just go 1 chord at a time. So your first chord, you should be able to give a Roman numeral for already. Here is your second chord. So first chord, second chord. And now the first 3. And one more time. And then the full progression. And again. Sing me the bass line. 3, 4. Sing me the soprano line. 3, 4. Good. Who has a bass line for us that they are confident about? Noah, what's your bass line?
A, B.
Good. Do, fa, so, do. Excellent. Who has a soprano line that they're confident about? Gabriel?
A,
Very good. So, right, you have do, ra, ti, do, A, B, flat, G, sharp, A. Very good. And here it is again. All right, let's talk analysis. Ow! Who's got some Roman numerals for me? Clay, what do you have?
1, flat 2, 6, 5, 7.
Oh, fine. Yes. Very good, Clay. 1, flat, 2, 6, 5, 7, 1. And you can write N6 for the flat 2, 6, 2 is totally okay. It's a fair shorthand. But I do like the specificity of flat major 2, 6. And what I like about this progression is this is literally the classic Neapolitan resolution. This is how it goes. Let's talk about the inner voices. Who has the alto? Clay, what's your alto line?
Can you give me an A? So it's
Precisely. So it starts on E, and then F, and then D, C. Sol, la, fa, mi. Yeah, I have a low C today. Okay. What about the tenor? Who has it? So we know it starts on this. So based on the context clues of the notes we already have, for a 1, Neapolitan 6, 5, 7 to 1, really this narrows down what the tenor could be, right? Since we already have 3 of the voices. What is our tenor starting on C4? Gabriel. Sorry?
2 B's and then an A.
Did you say 2 B's? Negative, Ghost Rider.
Really? It goes up to a D, right?
It does. Yeah. Fairly good guess, though. Okay, so Noah, then, after the D in the Neapolitan 6, where does the tenor go?
B.
And then? Very, very good. Very good, yes. So the tenor is mi, fa, re, do. Good. Okay. So I do want to talk about voice leading because that's what's so interesting about this. So from your 1 chord, very standard tonic triad, your Neapolitan 6, spelled in first inversion as usual. Notice how the root of the Neapolitan is in the soprano. Is that a coincidence? I think not. This is almost always what happens in the Neapolitan chord. With augmented 6 chords, there's a lot more flexibility as where you put lay, fi, okay? That's totally flexible. Not in the Neapolitan, it's not. Because there's a lot of problems with parallels when writing the Neapolitan to 5. If you go to 1/6/4, it's not really an issue, but Neapolitan usually goes directly to the dominant, okay? So how you resolve this is precisely how the author resolved it. You go from N6 to 5, with all 3 upper voices resolving down to the nearest chord tone. So in this case, the Neapolitan goes Ra, T, Ra, T, right? You have that diminished third from B flat to G sharp in this case. That's what always happens in the Neapolitan chord. That's just the thing that it does. It's a really kind of cool, quirky sound, okay? And then you resolve the tenor down, in this case, a third, to avoid what most students usually do, writing parallel octaves between the bass and the tenor, right? You would think, oh yeah, the nearest chord tone of the tenors, and that would double the root, would be going up to the E in the 5 chord, right? But that creates parallel octaves. That's why you want to go contrary to the bass, okay? And then your remaining voice, in this case the alto, that was on the 5th of the Neapolitan, maybe I played the right note, is then going to resolve to the 7th, down a 3rd, okay? If you are going to double the root in 5 and not make it a 5-7, then the alto would have just gone down to the E instead of the D. Contrary to the bass still, okay? Does that make sense? All right, so when you resolve, the big takeaway, when you resolve Neapolitan 6 to 5, directly to 5, move the 3 upper voices contrary to the bass to the nearest chord tone, okay? And then you've got it right. And I would strongly recommend putting the root of the Neapolitan in the soprano and then the leading tone in the soprano of the next chord, okay? To create that ra, ti, do. That's kind of the mystical allure of the Neapolitan, and that's how it was used historically. And you'll see that in pretty much every example we look at from the literature in music theory class. Noah?
Would there be necessarily anything wrong with putting that exact line in the bass so that it would create that, like...
If your bass is like, has the melody, like if you were doing like a choral piece in which that sort of happened, yeah, but then your harmony would be all weird because that foundation of fa, so, do would be in another voice, sure. And that would not carry the same weight.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I've never seen that happen. So I would say as a composer, if you wanted to create a modern use of the Neapolitan and you did something like that and you liked the way that it sounded, I would say go ham, enjoy. But if we're talking about how the Neapolitan developed and its usage, and you know the reason why it's in first inversion and the reason why it resolves a certain way, for voice leading purposes, this is kind of how it's done. Yeah, it's not Dr. Velez's thing. This is kind of music theory observations, taking a look at sources throughout music history. And the Neapolitan is a very tricky chord to work with because it's so chromatic. You know, I'll get you this in a second, Gabriel. However, one thing that I did mention is you can circumvent the issue by going to a tonic 6/4 chord. So if you go like Neapolitan 1/6/4 or Neapolitan to maybe 7 diminished of something, of 5, then you can move around which voice has the root of the Neapolitan, sure. But if you're going N6 directly to 5, you need to put the root of the Neapolitan in the highest voice and then the leading tone in the highest voice too. It's a pain, but it's what the chord does. Gabriel, what was your question?
I just wanted to respond to Noah's question. The whole dot motion down, the bass. Mozart actually did that in one of his piano sonatas, and maybe but the only difference is that he plays his notes and then kind of takes a break and it does it really quietly in the bass, and then goes back to it. So he does do it. Dot motion you're talking about. It does occur. It's just there's no other voices going along.
Oh, I see. So it's just a melodic statement that outlines the Neapolitan.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, to be fair, Noah, in the singing examples that we have, which hopefully we'll get to today, but maybe not, there is an example of an outlined Neapolitan kind of like that. But you don't get harmony. It's just a single line melody. So, which would technically mean that it's in the melodic voice. So I guess maybe I should amend my statement and say whatever voice is the melodic voice, which is usually the highest voice, but not always. Yeah. Okay. And if you're like in an orchestral texture when you have more than, just 4 voices that you're dealing with, it can appear in like an uppish voice. Doesn't have to be necessarily the highest, but it usually will be. Because you want that to stick out. Dee-da-da is a really strong pattern. But yeah, I guess it could just be like an isolated bass line too. That would be kind of cool. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's do another one or 2 of these. Because Dr. Velez is having fun. Oh, that's just rude. Let's do this one. I'll take my time with this though. All right. So now set up a grand staff in the key of A flat major. Key of A flat major, please. And there are 7 chords. Thanks, Dr. Velez. 7 chords in A flat major. So just make space for that. And your first chord, here's your bass, oh sorry, here's an A flat major chord. Here's your bass note. So here's middle C. So which A flat is this? A flat 3, very good, right below middle C. Here's your tenor note. C4. It's C4. Here's your alto. And can't even guess the soprano. Oh, Gabriel, no. I'm gonna read you for that. So it's literally an A flat major chord with a bass note of A flat 3 in root position, in close position. Bass, tenor, alto, soprano. So soprano is on A flat 4. Does everyone have the notes? All right. So let's see. I'll go through this one slowly all the way through, and then we'll go chord for chord. Hopefully I won't make any mistakes, but it's kind of a long one. So yeah, I'll do my best. And you can read me if I make a mistake. Okay. Wow, I'm gonna do that again. Sorry. I was so good until the second to last chord. Here we go. Sorry about that. See, even at the paragon of music of theoretical knowledge, one can still make mistakes.
It's relieving.
I confess, I've had to work at the keyboarding skills over the years. So as a little aside, in keyboarding class, do whatever Jackie tells you and make sure you practice your piano. Yeah, I regret prioritizing flute and composition and not doing more with keyboarding. Definitely. Especially if you plan on teaching theory to anybody. Okay, so let's go chord by chord. I'll just start with the one chord. Let's talk about the second one. What's the sound? What's the quality of the second chord? Other Noah. What's the quality of this chord? What does it sound like, Noah? Major, minor, diminished, dominant? That means try again. So from the first chord, you have, and then you have. It is dominant. It's dominant. But here's the thing about it. It is close together, right? Because the voices were already in close position. So from the first chord to the second, hear the bass line. Tenor. Hear the alto. Remains the same on sol. And the soprano. Do, T. Okay? So we go from 1 root position to a 5, 4, 3. It's a 5, 4, 3. Okay? And then the third chord after that, no joke, the original tonic triad we started with. So the first 3 chords I would have gone to 1/6 because I'm cool. It should be this. But whatever, fine. Chord 4. Isn't that interesting? Oh, if I played it right.
I was like, that is interesting.
And I did disinfect the piano this morning. All right, so again from chord 1, chord 2, chord 3, chord 4. So let's take a listen at this chord very carefully. All right. It's not major, minor, or diminished, but we have other options, right? Our borrowed chords are either major, minor, diminished, so we know it's not a borrowed chord. Neapolitan is a major chord, could be augmented 6, right? So, the German 6 sounds dominant. Does this have a dominant 7 quality? Or is it more dissonant than a dominant 7th?
It seems dominant.
Seems dominant? Do we agree?
I guess not.
What do you think, Gabriel? It's a French 6. I'm just going to keep doing this until you guys hear the Frenchness of it. It's a French 6, okay? It's a French 6. All right, so let's get there from the first chord again. So our bass note, if it is a French 6, what's our bass note? Your F flat.
Oh, okay.
Like, Noah, the sound of E natural is absolutely correct, but the thing is we have to build it on flat 6 in a major key. If we were in A flat minor, we wouldn't have to do anything to the F. It would already be flat. So F flat is in the bass. Okay. Let's talk about our soprano note. So this was our soprano line. So soprano is on what note on the French 6? Re. It's on a B flat. Very good. Do, ti, do, re. Good. So we've got the F flat taken care of, and its tritone, the B flat. Okay? There are 2 other notes in the French 6 chord. What are they? Our second tritone. So first, we know that we build these on flat 6, then we need an augmented 6 above that. So in the key of A flat major, what is Fi? Le, Fi. What's Fi? D natural, dog natural. And that is in the alto. So this is an example where you have the gator jaws not in the bass and soprano. In this case, you have it in the bass and the alto because of voice leading purposes, because of the way that the progression is forming. Okay? And it works just fine. So we have the D natural, or the augmented 6 of the chord, in the alto. Which means that what does the tenor have to be if we have another tritone in the chord? A flat. Good. Alpha flat. Right. That's your French 6 right there. Okay? And where do French 6 chords go?
164.
164 or
5.
5. Let's hear which one that it actually was. All right, from the beginning. The first 5 chords. I wasn't actually looking at my music. Again. So is it 164 or 5? It's 164. Very, very good. Chord 5, easy peasy. And with the voice leading, our bass goes, as we would expect in an augmented 6 chord, the tenor alto, feed, sol, which is going to happen, and our soprano, re, mi. Easy peasy. So now we're on 1-6-4, and then the rest of this should write itself. Our 6th chord, what chord is this? 5-7. Good, don't forget the 7th. And then, so there we have it. Very basic, standard progression. Really, really standard progression using a French 6 chord. Okay.
Does the alto at the end go E flat, C?
Sure does. Yep. So its 7th resolves as anticipated. 7th resolves down by step. And in the tenor, in the 5-7, T, do, actually resolves, which is kind of nice. And the soprano also walks down by step in the last 3 chords. And the bass, obviously, which is what basses do. Does everyone have the notes? Good. So study the Neapolitan progression and study the French 6 progression, because these are like absolutely cookie cutter examples. And in this particular one, you could have substituted that French 6 for an Italian or a German 6 chord, and it would have worked the same way. Yeah. I'm glad they used the French, though, because it sounds the best. Alrighty, guys. That's enough ear busting for today. Bring your packets on Tuesday of next week. We'll do a lot of singing from that, because it does these chords, but, you know, vocally. So